They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Dead Dad, a horror podcast.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Dead Air, a horror podcast. My name is Chris Costello, and for the purposes of this recording, I am the horror fanatic, and I am joined by two other horror fans. Please introduce yourselves.
I am a horror fan. My name is Aaron, and I love watching horror movies for how it makes me feel. However, I am not a film person, meaning I did not take any classes on film. I do not dissect the films in such a manner as my two co-hosts. I watch it and I enjoy or don't enjoy. But then we have someone who mostly doesn't enjoy our podcast as well.
Hold on. I am Miguel. I am the third co-host. I do enjoy film in general, but I am horror averse. I think that's a new term we're using with now. Hindi na yung scaredy cat.
Well, Scaredy Cat sounds so cute,
It sounds more
though.
professional.
I don't know, man. Like we're X number of episodes in. We should be professionalize this shit up a bit.
Horror averse.
Horror averse. Okay, cool. Hey, but I thought we were going away from that. I thought you were enjoying it more and more.
Actually, yes. I have been enjoying Conjuring lang talaga yung hindi ko mapanood. In general, this has been a fun journey.
And that won't be the last one. But anyway. Yeah. So this episode is gonna be pretty cool. It's special for a lot of things, especially for me and Miguel, because the person who we're having on is someone we basically kind of grew up with almost.
I know. Ish. And then lost track of for 20 years.
Yeah. But yeah, she's a writer, she's a poet, and soon to be voice talent, as we discussed earlier. I'd like to welcome Mookie Katigbak to the show.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, Mookie.
Nice to see you, Miguel. Nice to see you, Chris.
Hello, I haven't seen you in like 20 years, basically.
Shame. Such a shame.
So just a really quick, just for everyone on listening, well, all two of you listening who are not part of the team, Mookie and Miguel are we're all batchmates and actually blockmates. So we did take a few film courses together.
We did.
That's right.
We did.
We were in each other's films, as I recall.
Yeah. What is that, Mookie? Sorry.
What is that, Mookie? Sorry. We were in each other's films, as I remember.
Oh.
Yes. Holy shit. You know what? I just remember.
You guys.
Mookie, you wrote kind of like a horror film that we did.
I did not.
Sister, remember?
No,
Sister. It was kind of...
Are you kidding?
It was like our first or second year.
It was a really, really short film about twins, and it had kind of like a creepy vibe to it. You wrote it, and then we shot it.
Me.
I didn't see this.
Hey,
We've got a horror background. Yes, this is you.
You wrote a story called Sister
Ganda ng title.
about twins.
Ganda ng title.
Were you able to get
Yeah.
actual twins for the thesis?
Yes,
Wow.
we got actual twins.
I
Yeah.
remember
Shot it at
any
your
of
house,
this.
dude.
Who
How
are
can
the
you not remember
twins?
this, Mookie?
This is so bad. This is what the 20 years away from you guys does. Just erases my memory.
And this is actually more than 20 years away from when we actually shot it. So it's been a while. Yeah. But yes,
Sana
holy
mahanap
crap,
pa natin.
I would love to get the
Yeah,
photo of
I
that.
just realized this very like just a few minutes ago that you did write a horror story that we shot. That's incredible.
Perfect.
Probably a
perfect
really
that you're on the
awful
show.
one, huh, Chris? Probably a really,
What's
really shitty.
I'm sure it was, but I mean, like the intention was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, thank you so much for coming
My
on.
pleasure.
It's such an honor, not just for you being on this personally, but just to catch up with you. So usually, how we start off the show is we like asking this question of everyone. So Mookie, what is your horror origin story? How did you first discover the genre? Was it a movie? Was it a film? Was it something that you did with your family or anything? I know for a fact that you're not the biggest horror fan, but how did you encounter it in the first place?
Well, as a kid, I grew up in the 80s. Here I am dating myself again, right? So I grew up in the 80s, and I remember like being absolutely terrified of Jaws. And so much so
Yeah.
that absolutely terrified. And so much so that when I watched it with my family, I spent, most of the time just really hiding under the covers. So ever since then, I guess I was maybe 8, I want to say. And it kind of turned me off horror movies for a long time because I was kind of traumatized by it. And then surprisingly, during the pandemic, I've been watching a lot of horror.
Shit,
Haunting
that's
of Hill
awesome. I
House.
love to hear that.
Yeah, and I actually interviewed Bea Alonso once, and because I had to do some research, I watched Eerie, which I loved it. So I want to say that in recent years, my exposure to horror has been prior to the pandemic, kind of just research on various people that I've had to interview. So Bea Alonso was for Esquire, really great interview. I wanted to ask her about the Hugot phenomenon, but she didn't want to talk about it anymore.
Oh, really?
There.
Oh, that's funny.
Sawa na siya.
Sawa na siya. But there, so that's been my
Really?
experience
Oh,
with
that's-
horror movies.
It's like us asking all the actors who have been on the show. Every single one of them who has a horror background, they're all like, "Yeah, I'm kind of sick of acting in horror." That's how Bea feels.
About the Hugot
About Hugot
movies.
films.
About
Yeah.
Hugot films, yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
they did the prototype of the Hugot movie, she and John Lloyd, before it was even a thing. And it was named.
For One More Chance.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was really before it took off as a genre. So yeah, I wanted to talk about it a little more, ask her to give like a little Hugot one-liner, and then she's like, "I'm finished na, no more na." So we talked about Eerie. We talked about her being on Variety. I think they selected her as one of the top like stars to look out for in Asia. That's what we ended up talking about there. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Okay, so actually, all of us I think are huge fans of Jaws. We actually we did one episode on that. That's actually my go-to answer of whenever I say what's a good gateway horror film. I think it's a great movie to start your someone's love for horror. It's because it's a mix of different genres. It's fun. It's like an adventure film, but it's pretty scary too. I have gone on record saying that that's the first horror film I'm going to show my kid when he's old enough.
We actually watched it the other night with our kid, and Sarge was like, "You know what? That this must be like it's so good. It dates. I mean, it keeps so well. So it didn't feel dated at all." So he was like, "I'm sure they studied this in film school because of the storytelling, which is like subtle in very very subtle details that you see." Right. Yeah. So yeah, it still keeps very very well.
That's awesome. How did your son enjoy it?
He was very scared. Can I say that? Yeah. He was, yeah, sure. Yeah. So he's 10 now, older than I was when I saw it first. There.
Well,
I actually saw it the first time just for this podcast. I never watched it when I was
What did you think?
So, yeah. Okay naman. Yeah, it was still scary. It was really scary. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Yay.
Yay.
Thanks, podcast. Thanks.
What's really surprising is
like you, Aaron. Quark saw it for the first time just like a few weeks ago. I find that kind of insane. That
How did he
He's gone.
find it?
he's a huge Spielberg fan, and he only saw it like a few weeks ago.
I'm trying to
And
remember.
a film
oh, yeah.
person.
Yeah.
and a film person.
Yeah. I think he saw it para lang.
Miguel,
so
you were saying?
Sorry, yeah. Quark saw it so he could listen to our podcast without being spoiled yata or something.
Oh, wow.
Did he like it?
Influence. That's
So-
what
so
we
he's-
have.
Yeah. So he's one of our 2 listeners.
Yes. We might as well
Yeah.
name drop their podcast for it. Thanks, Quark.
Yeah, thank you, Gord. Yeah, so that's really cool, Mooks. Leading to that, from that, I guess so that is like one of your first horror experiences, and now we're here to talk about one of your favorite horror experiences. So that's my clever segue to what movie did you choose for us to talk about today, and why did you choose it?
Well, I chose A Quiet Place because I just saw it again recently. The year it came out, I watched it, and I saw it again recently. And it's what I showed my kid during Halloween because my kid, and we love John Krasinski back home, and we were watching The Office during the pandemic. We started watching all these comedy shows, and he just really took to John Krasinski. And then I figured, oh, he's old enough for this movie. It's very subtly, like it's not all blood and gore, although there is some of that in the film. But I figured a 10-year-old could handle it. And really, it amazed us, like the range of John Krasinski. Diba? He wrote it, he directed it, acted in it, got Emily Blunt to act alongside him. So yeah, that's the movie I picked for those reasons. We love John Krasinski.
So did your son think that Jaws was scarier than
He
Quiet
actually
Place?
didn't find A Quiet Place scary.
Oh, really?
He didn't. Yeah.
Oh.
So,
So
like, for me, it was
petrified,
really
yeah.
scary, diba? And I thought I'd have to hold his hand
Yeah.
through it, but no, I didn't have to at all.
Oh,
I was more scared.
That's really. I find that super surprising.
Yeah, I was.
Because I watched it again, and it's got some really good scares.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And it's so engaging because I've seen it. I saw it in the movie house. First of all, when I saw it in the movie house, I thought, all right, I can eat chips. And then
Yeah.
Yeah.
the whole movie, they're just doing sign language. So I'm like, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Same
doing that.
experience. Yeah.
And it was so engaging
Exactly.
that when I watched it again kanina, I was watching while working out. I was trying to do yoga. Nakaupo na lang ako. Because it's so, you're just on your toes the entire time. I love it.
Yeah.
So good.
It is so It's surprisingly so good. I like it's nothing like I expected. No, but before we get into that, I'm gonna spring this on Miguel. Miguel,
Yo.
why don't you give us a summary? Do it.
All right. So, The Quiet Place is a family movie set in the near future. On Wikipedia, it actually says na 2021. Eh. So, in this near future, parang may creatures na who came to Earth, supposedly aliens, and you attract them by sound. Like they hunt you down by the sound you make. So the little survivors who made it through this alien invasion or this whole creature pandemic, parang they've learned to quietly exist, parang in silence, by sign language, in their soundproof homes. And so the movie focuses on one family: John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, a real married couple in real life, and they have kids. And in the beginning, I'm just gonna go through the whole summary. One kid, one kid, like while they were scavenging in broad daylight, one kid parang makes a sound with his toy and is killed by the alien. So parang traumatized yung buong family by that whole one event. Now it's like a year later, there's a new kid on the way, and they exist in this, and the whole family lives on this farm where they've learned to keep quiet. It's because a bit of a family drama also mixed in with horror, and I think for some reason they trip a sound, and then the aliens the monsters kinda know where they live now and slowly encroach on their property, and they just have to survive. So, and that's the gist of the story.
Sounds like what we're going
Is that
through
a good
right now.
summary?
Huh?
Nice. Well done.
Very well
All right,
done.
Cool.
And Miguel mentioned the word
well done,
pandemic. And that's exactly how I felt about the movie the second time I saw it last Halloween, where it's really like the pandemic. You have like a largely invisible enemy, right? And you have to prepare yourself against it, which they do, which Emily Blunt and John Krasinski do with their families. They're really guarding themselves against this, largely for about 75% of the film, invisible monster. And they're like, okay, how do we arm ourselves? How do we talk to each other? How do we keep ourselves occupied? How do we get supplies, right? While this monster is out there that they don't see, that they have to guard themselves constantly against.
Exactly.
Just like
It's hard watching it the second time. It's hard
It's
not to
hard
draw
watching
parallels to our situation now. It's like it's really like learning to coexist. It's the whole the stupid new normal thing. It's just living in this new normal. How you adapt, how you get through your day to day. That's another additional like thing that I pulled from it watching it the second time. My first time watching it was
Can
super
I just
fun.
say?
Yes.
Because so I was thinking this while I was watching it, that being a spouse and a parent watching this film is such a hassle.
It's so bad.
Like, I'm thankful.
It's so
I'm
bad.
so thankful. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so intense.
It's so intense.
Kid dies. You watch your wife bleed out.
Yeah.
You don't
Oh my
know where
God.
she is. you watch your husband die. Like, oh,
That's right. And all
Absolutely. Like
happening.
I've said a number of times on this podcast that after becoming a father, like everything like that involves children has taken on a different meaning to me. Watching it the first time, that first scene was exciting. It was fun. Like, but watching it the second time, it was really horrifying. Like watching that kid and then knowing what's going to happen to him. It's horrifying. So I don't know. Did you have that kind of experience, Mooks?
Absolutely. And that kid pa was so
Yes.
cute, diba?
Yeah, so
and
cute.
really
Yes.
So cute.
enabled pa by his sister. Kasi the John Krasinski tells him not to get the toy. And then here's the
Yeah.
sister. I mean, good and well-intentioned, really thinking, oh, he's a kid. He will want the toy, right? I'll give him this. And not knowing it would eventually kill him. Diba?
Yeah.
Like turning the toy on with this crazy kind of loud sound and the sparkling lights, etc. So yeah, I mean, I was
And
pretty.
that was such a well
Everything like
too, like
them turning around, realizing, and then she being like deaf does not realize what's happening, and everyone's staring at her, and she's like, "Wait, what's happening?" And the slow realization on her face, it's
and the moment of
so good.
terror, on John Krasinski's face as he's rushing, he thinks he can beat the alien, diba? But he can't.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Absolutely heartbreaking. He has so many heartbreaking moments there. He's so magaling.
Yeah, I'm. I was gonna say like my first experience watching this was really fun too. I read this interview by Tarantino once where he said that the most fun he ever had in a movie theater was he went to this old movie theater in Texas or whatever, and then they sold beer, so you could bring him beer. And then he watched Jackass 2, Jackass the movie, and he said it was his best movie going experience because he was like drinking beer and it was just the raunchiest film he ever. So when I live right across Ayala the 30th, and then they let you bring in beer. So every time I go there, I try to recreate that in my head. I'm like, I'm gonna have Quentin Tarantino's experience by bringing in beer to a movie theater. But anyway, yeah. So I did that. I brought in a few cans of beer for Quiet Place, and that was the wrong movie to watch when you have a few beers. It's like the first time you do it, people are like, oh, yeah, he's just drinking a Coke or whatever. And then I do it the second time, and they're like, did he just open a second? And I do it a third time, and they're like, oh, he's drinking. And I'm like, fuck you guys, whatever. But yeah, so it was a fun time. And yeah, I had a great time watching it the first time, but the second time I watched it, it was a little more rewarding because I found it a lot more emotional.
Once you're past the mechanics of the world, it becomes more.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can focus on the emotion of it.
Yeah.
There are no Miguel. No, there are a few things na some mechanics of the world na parang you kind of question like
Go on.
like why didn't they live next to the flowing
I
river?
thought of that,
to the
Chris.
waterfall.
Yeah.
Right? Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
But I mean,
Oh,
But then-
what, do you think it was because? Sorry, do you think it was because they had to? Parang the radio could only operate from where they were. Was there parang ganon?
it's possible.
No naman eh, no?
How I justified
Yeah.
it was they probably would have to like build, and then
Again.
that would necessitate a little more sound, building or whatever. It might be a big hassle. Also, maybe it wouldn't account for like the weather, like if it snows, then they won't have enough, warm shelter, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a very impressive world building. No? What do you guys think? Because I watched it, I really believed the world that they existed in.
Same. It's one of those things where I watched the movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought, oh my God, amazing. And then you think about it, and then you're like, did they really choose to have a baby during like, did they really do that?
Did they really think this through?
That's a good point.
Come on.
It's like a movie about aliens that crash land on Earth, killing everyone, and only operating through sound. But the most unbelievable thing about this movie is Emily Blunt giving birth without making a sound. That's just like, oh, come on. That's just impossible. Like, really?
But she was so tigas in this movie. I was really like,
Badass.
damn. Oh my
Badass.
God. Insane. Galing.
I guess it helps. It
Galing.
helps that they're really they're married in real life now, because I really felt a lot of chemistry between the two. A lot of like, I just really believed in, again, for a monster movie, I believed so much of it, and a lot of the heart kasi of the movie is really it's a family movie, and I love that kind of, those movies where it's like a family banding together to overcome like an ancient evil or aliens or whatever,
Right.
because it brings so much emotion to the movie watching experience. And that's why I love this movie, is because there was so much heart in it. It wasn't just
Yeah.
a monster movie. There was just so much heart in it. How about
And
you
the
guys
mother
with,
and father were so sweet. They were so sweet. They made me believe in love again for like
No, but that's true.
Hours,
Their
30
chemistry is
minutes.
really, yeah. Did you like the slow dancing part? Diba they're
Diba?
listening?
I was like, really? Damn. And they're really married. So they do this. I believe in love again for a minute or two.
I guess you'll just have to keep watching this movie, Aaron. Just watch it over and over.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll just perpetually just there
Whoa.
on the screen.
So Mooksy, you said that you're a big fan of John Krasinski as a comedian. How did you feel about this turn where suddenly he's not making you laugh. He's not swooning over Pam in The Office. He's basically a grizzled action star.
What do you think of this
I
turn?
was really, really impressed. I'm like, this guy's range is really wow. It's unbelievable. And he was. It just seemed so effortless, and he was so natural in the role. And even the story, I'm like, wow, he can make a good story. He's not just a great actor. Well, I just discovered he was great because he showed such range. And grabe the way he can cry, like he does it in The Office. Diba? But even this one, like the
I
way
love
he
The Office,
crafted that beautiful scene where he saves his kids, diba?
Yeah.
He draws
Oh,
the
yeah.
alien. I'm like,
My
wow.
God.
Would you do that, Chris? I so would do that. I would do that. So that was
Oh,
the
hell
parent
yes.
in
Absolutely.
me
No question.
coming out. You wouldn't save yourself?
Me, okay lang. Me, okay lang.
Diba?
I'll gauge our chances muna. Like, baka ako na lang.
Maybe the monster can eat.
Obviously, Aaron and I are the people without kids in this podcast. So,
Damn.
no idea, no concept of self-sacrifice. Like, whatever.
And be like,
We can-
they're old now. What? She's like 11.
Tsaka-
Kaya na niya.
Tsaka Emily and I can just have other kids naman. Wow.
As we've
Wow.
proven, right?
Wow.
We just replaced the one who
I'm
died.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm kidding.
Why not?
There's another one on the way naman. I guess we're good. Wow. Sama na uga. I'm kidding, guys. To our listeners, I'm just kidding.
To anyone
Not-
who
well,
wants
not
to
really.
date Miguel in the future, he's just kidding. He's joking.
I am father material. Just kidding. Whoa.
What,
Anyway.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So for the two of you, what would it take for you to sacrifice yourself? Would it be like your pets, Aaron, or for Miguel, would it be like a 6-pack of Yakult?
Grabe ka naman.
Oh shit!
Back now.
Bastos.
Ay, nako.
I don't know.
No, I mean, we're just kidding. Obviously, if we had kids, we'd save our kids. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Duh. But we don't. Just saying. We don't.
Oh, okay. Wow. Off the rails na agad. Wala pa tayo
I
midway.
know.
Oh, then, sakto lang midway pala tayo. Off the rails. Good job, everyone.
Good job.
Keep it together.
So
Um,
anyway,
Yeah.
yan. We're talking about like how we're able to relate to the film. What about the film really resonated with you? That it struck you so much that you decided to choose it as the film for today.
Well, just I guess being as a parent, I mean that's the worst horror that can happen to you, like having your child taken away or having your child under threat. That's one major scare. But really, the storytelling. I love the storytelling so much, and I love the chemistry between John Krasinski and Emily Blunt so much. They're just so natural. And what a subtle horror story, diba? Because you don't see the monster a lot
Super.
of the time. And for me, the horrific thing was just you were imagining 100 horrors that could go on rather than see it on screen. It happens though, the horror bits happen for just a fragment of the film, really. So a lot of it is just imagining the monster, right? What will I do to kind of draw the monster in? How do I avoid the monster? So it's, the monster in their mind also becomes a monster in your mind. You're just left, a lot of it is left to your imagination. That's what I liked about it.
Well, you can see that John Krasinski is probably a fan of Jaws, because that's basically how they did Jaws, was they showed the monster at the very end, That's actually, I'm not trying to be funny. No, I really think he studied like a lot of these old like masters, because I see so much of like Hitchcock. Sorry, small segue into film talk, Aaron. Sorry, but like, so yeah, Aaron just fell asleep.
Wake her up na lang when we're past film. Got it.
Like I see so much of so many Hitchcockian influences in this movie. Like he's so fond of like the build up and the tense build up. He really holds tension in so many scenes. It's really impressive. His style is very like Mookie said, it's subdued. I thought it was very. I was just so impressed, because like this was actually a big budget movie, but if you gave the same budget to someone like Michael Bay, it would be a totally different film. You know what I mean? It would be
the
monster
half
on every
of the time is the
screen.
Fireworks. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mga
Exactly.
20 minutes.
And then like Emily Blunt will probably be in a bikini and in slow mo. Like so just thinking that like I think they spent a lot of, well, I feel that a lot of the budget really went into the world building, into making that little commune or like the little house they have like really believable. I think it went into the design of the monster, because I thought the monster was really created really excellently. I thought the big reveal at the end when you finally see everything, you can say, oh wow, they really didn't scrimp on the effects for this monster, because that was excellent. The design, the movement, and everything. So I was really, really impressed with what Krasinski did, and I cannot wait for the sequel. He is going to do the sequel, right? Am I right or wrong?
I mean, he's not in it, I think. I assume.
He's in flashbacks, is what I read upon. But he's not directing yata. Let me check.
He's not directing. And he's not writing it either. So they're writing on. And when you mentioned the monster, Chris, do you know that the monster has armor pa? You're right. The budget really went into constructing this monster because he's really like an awesome, right? Very expensive looking monster.
Sorry, guys. Wikipedia says John Krasinski is still
he's still directing. He's still directing.
Yes.
He's not writing it now.
Yeah.
He's not writing
Probably
it.
not.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
It's surprisingly a very short movie. It's like barely an hour and a half.
Mm-mm.
So it just there's no lull.
Because if it carried on for any longer, I don't know if my heart could take it. Because the whole time you're really frozen. You're like, oh my God. Parang you feel like you're there also and you don't want to make noise. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
I was just like, when they'd hide, ako rin, I'm hiding. So good. So well made.
So it's so incredible that this film actually has 28 lines of dialogue in the entire film.
I believe it.
Isn't that crazy? Like spoken dialogue. You can just imagine the script. It's just all description.
Which made me so impressed with the acting of every cast member. Because I was trying to watch it on an actor's perspective, and that scene where she tells her son that he has to go with John Krasinski, and it's all sign language, and he's just like, I don't want to go, and she was trying to ease him into it. I was watching just like, you're not talking. This is amazing.
Yeah,
it's
but
coming
you can
through
feel it.
so well, and you're not talking.
Yeah.
So I was so impressed by everyone. Everyone did such a good job. Even cute kid with airplane.
We touched on it earlier, like Krasinski's death scene. But when he does like, "I love you," and I've always loved you, I was like, "Oh God!"
Same.
Which wasn't the original script, diba? Parang, and it was actually the actor playing the daughter ba, who made the suggestion to change it up a bit.
So what was the original?
The original line was, hold on, let me He's parang I love you lang, but parang it was the character who said, say always, because sign it as always, because it hits differently. So it worked out. It
It's
worked
like
out
Gone
really
with the
well.
Wind. Like in Gone with the Wind, which used to be my favorite movie before it was cancelled for being such a racist movie. I was 12. I loved it so much.
It's not woke enough.
It's
woke
it's
enough.
absolutely not woke. Romanticizing everything that it romanticizes. But like, diba, that classic line is, diba, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Diba? In the end, so Scarlett says, without you, whatever, where will I go and what will I do? And then he says, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. In the book, it's just, I don't give a damn. So Clark Gable added that line. And then now it's until, last year, diba, it was a great cinematic line. Now I don't know anymore.
This will all come around maybe in 20 more years.
In 20 more years,
accept it again.
Oh yeah, when we're
Just gotta wait. Patience is
Just gotta
key.
wait. Yeah. Maybe in 20 years, A Quiet Place will get canceled for some reason. Maybe it's
Diba?
against people who, it's a disservice to people who have stepped on nails or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a scary scene. Grabe that scene. Pregnant Emily Blunt stepping on a nail and you can see it, they were poking through her flesh. Wow.
That seems so painful. Perfect example.
If
of one
I
of
were
those,
Emily Blunt, I'd really be like, okay, we can do it, but don't get me pregnant. Dude. So guys, I have a question. How do you think you personally would fare in that kind of environment?
Aaron asking the important
that's
question.
good.
All right.
That's good. Who wants to go first?
Me, I'd die. I'd be gone, so I'm loud. So I think, talagang I'll sing it. I'll just, just commit to it until they take me.
Take me.
Yeah. I don't think I can. I would be so poor at that. Survivor
Keeping
pa lang
quiet.
Yeah, and Survivor pa lang. Like when people ask, would you join Survivor? No, I'm gonna die. So ito, I shall die.
Ato may real death and my real death, possible death. Yep, gets ko naman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I'm the next easy answer. I think I'll make an attempt to survive and then just like trip on something and then get eaten up. Yun lang yun naman. I'll back up into a chandelier of cans. Basta super malas yung parang, or like I'm in public and I feel like coughing, like now. Then I'm dead. It is like COVID. Damn, this movie really is like COVID. Like,
Yeah, get a hold on your throat.
yeah.
Ako, like, I'd be the same. I would try my best. But snoring pa lang, patay na ako eh. Like, I can't sleep. It's like, that better be a soundproof room wherever I sleep in. Otherwise, I'm dead. Like, I'll be dead so quickly. How about you, Mooks?
I think, I remember, Chris, I sent you an article some months ago about how people have said that people who watch, scientists have said that people who watch horror movies actually deal with the pandemic much better. Because it's like, you see a story, this and it's a prepper movie. So it teaches you how to strategize, right? So in your mind.
It's a prepper movie, yeah.
My kid just turned on the light, so my lighting looks good for all of you. Thank you. But whatchamacallit? Yeah, so, it teaches you like coping strategies, diba? And all of that. So I feel like if I watch more horror movies, my coping mechanisms will be super top notch. I think I can live through the next zombie apocalypse. I'm just kidding. I will certainly try.
Oh man!
Like I will play it out in my mind.
We will make it our mission to train you for the future, Mookie. We will send you a lot of prepper movies and horror movies to get you through this
pandemic, right? This awful thing.
Yeah.
But like I remember, I was watching other horror movies, and I just I was watching Haunting of Hill House, which for me was, my God, like the scariest thing I have ever seen. Scarier than A Quiet Place, though not quite as satisfying, or satisfying in a different way. But I couldn't keep my eyes away. I was watching it not on the big screen, but on my tablet. Because at any time you can just avert your not look. You have full control of what you see and what you don't see. But the thing about horror is you just want to see. It's like porn. it's like you can't figure. Not that I've
Yeah.
ever watched porn. I don't.
What
know.
is
It's
porn? I have no idea what that
theoretically,
is.
I don't know.
theoretically, I've read up on it.
Let me Google. Let me check out. Let me Google what that means.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally believe that study, by the way. 100%. Like, well, for one thing, like you, horror really got me through this pandemic. It's a distraction. It's a really big distraction. I'm like, well, some people got it worse than me. This guy just got stabbed through the brain. You know what I mean? Like, I just have to stay inside for another 365 days.
Oh no.
But yeah,
I mean, we started this
we started this because of the pandemic.
because
That's
of
true.
the pandemic.
Yeah, we all have our coping strategies. What have you done, Mookie, since the pandemic has started?
Well, I wrote a lot. Like, I feel like that was my
Good
saving
job.
grace. Because it kept me sane and I watched a lot of comedy. So my kid and I were watching like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, mga kid-friendly comedies, but also surprisingly The Office, which he loves. That's a weird choice for a 10-year-old, right?
He's got good taste.
He's got really good taste. I told you. So that's why, hence, the John Krasinski movie for Halloween. So we segued from The Office to that. So yeah, just writing a lot and watching. I was talking to somebody about this, and it was like at the beginning of the pandemic, we were watching a whole lot of comedies. And that was when it was the hardest. Diba? We were on lockdown, and that was March. And then after that, I noticed our viewing habits at home started getting darker and darker. So it's like Ozark, bigla nang may Ozark, bigla na lang all these other things. Basta as we progress, diba? At first you're so optimistic, I can get through this, I'll watch comedy, bigla na lang, let's just be true to who we are. And just everything, just diba? Day drinking, yeah I'm gonna do it.
It's always 6:00 somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So next week you guys are gonna watch Exorcist,
I
right?
can't. That's one
No.
movie like
No.
I will not watch.
Oh, really?
What? Just the movie or the whole like
Just all the
Genre.
movie, yeah, the whole like
the movie.
religion.
No, the movie.
Just-
Because I had the same experience with Jaws, where I grew up with older kids, so they would watch stuff and just assume that it would be okay for an 8-year-old. So this one, talagang it traumatized. I should have talked about that because it freaked me out much more than Jaws. That one, I really just after this one scene, I just left the room. Like I couldn't handle it.
yeah. Exorcist is something else. That's for the advanced
Right.
folk.
Not when you're 8, diba?
That's have you seen The Exorcist, Miguel?
Yeah, dude. I think I might have seen the.
How
What
can
was
you
the-
watch that and not The Conjuring?
Hold
I
on. No,
know.
first of all, I saw it in the cinema with a lot of people when they did that reissue. So I think that's the
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the inferior one, diba? But it's still pretty good. So I enjoyed The Exorcist a lot. I actually saw The Quiet Place in the cinema also, and like Aaron, I come to movies always ready, like with a bag of chips, yan, soft drinks.
Yeah.
And
Chocolate or
parang-
strawberry?
Yeah, no, you have to do that whole salty sweet thing. I do like the chocolate one. Or yung mga almond nuts from Candy Corner. Anyway, it was so hard keeping it quiet. Parang, why am I the only person eating in the cinema? Parang,
Yes.
and
That's how I felt.
Yeah, it was a full cinema, but wow, people are really committed to keeping quiet because guys, we're not in the movie. We're watching the movie. So like I had to open a bag of Doritos. It was horrible. Yeah. Anyway,
Doritos
yeah.
pa talaga.
That just speaks to
Krasinski then. Like he recreated
Yeah.
that whole experience.
Yeah.
Like
Super
you
tense, yeah.
you have to respect it.
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
just like not give it
Yeah.
your full attention. So Exorcist, Mookie, that's something you can't watch. Is there anything else on your cannot? Like I will not even venture into that territory.
Mm.
Like heavy gore or something.
I think maybe because I was 8, so I think that really traumatized me. I think the scene where her head spins, and then it just I'm like I can't. I'm like my heart is not built for this genre. My heart and my mind are not built for this genre. So there,
Understood naman.
Pero now I think I'd be okay na. Except for that. It left
Except for that,
such a deep impression in my mind. So maybe not.
yeah.
Yeah, we all have our traumatizing movies. Miguel had his a few months ago. Starting
Until now. Oh, so annoyed. Like until now, I remember the scene where I stopped watching it.
we had
You mean 5 minutes? In the movie?
I
We,
know.
someone chose The Conjuring, and then we were all gonna watch it. Miguel,
I've
tested.
never seen it. I've never seen it. Tried to watch during the daytime. Didn't the last 5. Nothing even happened yet. You know what I mean?
like literally nothing happened, and then you turned it
No,
on.
wait, no. It had that intro of the doll, naman. That was that.
Yeah, but the doll wasn't even integral to the entire
Exactly.
film. That's how little you saw.
Wala na. It's awful.
I'll watch it with you.
It's over.
Let's
I'm
watch
never
it
seeing
together,
it.
Miguel. Let's watch it.
I know.
We always say this. We like once this pandemic ends, we're gonna have a one big horror
Screen.
marathon. I invite all our guests. We'll chain Miguel into his chair. You know,
Oh
we're
no!
gonna
If it's
force your eyelids open. Yeah.
what an image.
Then you'll have a
no,
GoPro on him lang. Just watch it.
Yeah.
You can't look
no,
away.
but if I'm with a big group, I think I'll survive.
Yeah.
Ugh, like in life. Anyway.
Like in life.
You need your
Whoa.
friends to survive.
Not in the quiet place
Wala,
world
we're dead.
though. You can't be in a big group there.
Yeah.
So back to A Quiet Place, no? Just a few more points of trivia because I went through the IMDb
Ooh.
and it's really really fun actually. I just discovered a bunch of really fun things. So I'll just throw a few things that I thought were really really cool. Do you know that John Krasinski played the creature in a few scenes?
You're kidding.
He was in
Like
a
in costume.
yeah, he was in a rubber suit and everything with the motion capture. I thought that was
Kala ko may
hilarious.
budget sila.
I thought that was hilarious. Parang committed to the role. He's like, I co-wrote this. I'm directing it. I'm gonna be the fucking monster.
No, you don't understand. He has to be like, you're not doing it right.
Exactly.
I'll do it.
Yeah. So I thought that was really really fun. But it really shows you
OC.
how. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm thinking. Is he's like
OC.
super duper OC? Like he really wanted to be in every part of this. I think that's really impressive, by the way, that he did that. And then
Wow.
yeah, and then another thing is there are only 28 lines of voice dialogue. Oh, and they shot the opening scene, one of the greatest scenes in the movie. That was literally the last scene that they shot because he had to shave his beard
Okay.
because it occurred earlier in the movie. So that's really
right.
like I'm just thinking as an actor, no. How you go through that whole process, I don't know how do actors do that? I don't understand actors. Just going through everything and then putting yourself in a mindset where you are like much earlier in the film, and all the emotions are different. It's incredible. It's really admirable. So that
I agree.
you're an actor, Aaron. Is there something you can tell us about how people do that shit?
I do improv theater. So I would say just do it. I tell my students, just like, yeah, if you're sad, what do sad people do? You curl your lips down. You know, like really, really surface level stuff. So I actually admire people who do films because at least in what we do, tuloy-tuloy yan eh. Like if you're going through a scene, when you go through the emotion, it's because there is a line that's taking you there, or it's a linear kind of story. But for someone to be like, all right, I'm happy right now, but in the next 10 seconds, I'm going to have to be really, really sad. I don't think I can do that. That's skill. That's really a lot of skill. And then you memorize by the lines. I don't know. Never done it. So
yeah, see, that's
impressed.
another thing, like the switching and stuff. Like it said that Emily Blunt did the pregnancy, the giving birth scene in literally one take. And that was it.
Wow.
She was
That's
done.
not fair anymore.
That's a horrific scene. Like she was so good in that scene, by the way. Like if that was a lesser actress, no one could have pulled that off. You know, like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Like you can't give birth without making a sound. But she made me believe it for the few minutes that they had it on screen.
especially when she finally released her scream when the fireworks were going.
That
I
was
was just
so
like, girl,
good.
good job.
So good, so good.
Galing. I mean, Emily Blunt has been good for so long. From
And
Devil Wears
everything.
Prada pa siya.
My favorite
And
one is
everything.
Edge of Tomorrow, was it? Where she plays
so good.
even if you have Tom Cruise in this movie, Emily holds her own, and that opening scene where you first meet her and she's doing that yoga pose, like wow, it, like seared in my memory forever.
What was she wearing again?
Yeah, what was she wearing, Miguel?
Oh,
When
sorry.
you describe
First of all, she was in the army, so like a tank top. like parang militarized athleisure. Parang ganun.
Yeah, yeah. It was her acting that impressed you in that scene, right?
Her arms were so good.
Yeah.
Like, so strong.
Her arms.
Yeah.
The
The
acting,
acting of her arms, those were incredible.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oscar worthy.
twitching.
so another thing I forgot to bring up earlier, Miguel, when you said like how the world works. No, I was always like, how the fuck do these monsters like get into the house? Like, guys, just close a fucking door. Yung pala, that's part of the world. Is there are no doors on purpose because closing it and opening doors would make sounds. So they just leave them open. Like there are. I was like, wow, they really thought of
That's
that.
amazing.
So
Yeah.
that was really, really, really cool. And then lastly, for the film nerds, you can go to sleep again. All right. For the, for the film nerds, Krasinski edited this without sound at all because he wanted the movie to work without any dialogue, and I think that's pretty damn incredible. That's
amazing.
That's yeah. I did hear our old teacher, guys, Direct Marilu Abaya. That was one of the first things may she rest in peace. One of the first things she said was, if you're watching a movie, turn off the sound. If it works, if you still understand what's going on, that movie was well made. And so I think, yeah, and if it doesn't, then you need to put more work in it. But so I thought that was really, really cool that he did that. So that's why I think he really has respect for the old masters, and he's not one of these young whippersnappers who like explosions and boobs and stuff. So it is really refreshing to see a big monster movie treated this way. So yeah.
I have a question. I have a kind of film school question.
Go for it.
Go for it. Aaron has an answer.
Aaron. Yeah.
Okay, I'll answer it.
Go for it.
I'm
It's
amazing
like
at this.
he's
Yes.
not like what. Parang did he watch all these horror films? Because you say he refers. I'm sure he watched all the classics and everything. But do you think that he subverted it? Like he goes, okay, in all these movies, you have the huge monster. I'm going to do the opposite of that. I'm going to make a monster that isn't always visible. I'm going to work on the tension more than I'm going to work on, the presence of the monster. Or are there films really like that, like in the same vein?
There are a few, definitely. Jaws is the biggest example. Absolutely. Movies like the Korean monster movie, The Host, also is very, very similar. They don't show the monster. Oh, actually, oh my God, no, that's wrong. They show the monster in full force pull at the beginning.
In the beginning?
Yeah. But yeah, he definitely subverts a bunch of stuff. I mean, at the beginning, you think Krasinski is the hero, and he's gone. And then it's really, it's Emily Blunt's movie,
Yeah.
I found that so kick-ass, by the way. I love that. A lot of people complained about the ending because they wanted to see more, and I was like, no, I thought that was perfect. Where because the movie ends with she kills her and her daughter. They discover the weakness of the monsters. They kill one monster, and in the screens behind them, they see two other monsters charging them. And then she shares a look with her daughter, and they're like, okay, we got this. And then she just racks her shotgun. And I was like, oh my God, this movie is fucking excellent.
So good.
Like, no, I don't want to see how she killed the other two. I don't need to. Like, I know she did. You know what I mean? Like, because she was ready. They were ready.
Yeah.
And then I was watching again earlier, diba? Because I saw this in the movie house when it came out. So I kind of forgot a little bit of it. So I watched it. Then I remembered, oh yeah, John Krasinski dies. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Then I look at the movie. Tagal pa nito 25 minutes, but he died na.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. I remember now. Galing. I like that. Final girl.
Yeah, she's a final
girl.
girl.
Wow, Aaron. Look at that.
Aaron.
I'm a film critic.
Familiar with the tropes.
Yeah.
I'm a rotten tomato right here.
Okay.
All right. Settle down.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we're kind of winding down our discussion on A Quiet
Yeah.
Place.
Yeah.
Is,
Love it.
Do you guys want to do? Let's do a quick round of what's your last word on the movie?
I'll go first. My last words are perhaps being a spouse or a parent is not such a good idea. I mean, if I were to die now, kailang.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my biggest takeaway.
That's your biggest.
Nice one. Nice one, Rotten Tomato.
Yeah, that's me.
For me, I think for a movie that's highly conceptual, horror, parang it's remarkably emotional, which is kind of cool about it. So that's my takeaway from A Quiet Place.
That's exactly my takeaway as well. I love.
Daya.
Parang no.
I'm expounding. Hello.
Go for it. All right, fine.
That's exactly how I feel. It's an awesome horror thriller, but at its heart, it's really an emotional family story, and I love those kind of things, and that's why I love this, because there was so much heart in it. It's equal part heart, equal part horror. And those are my favorites.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm so glad we discussed this. I'm so glad Mookie chose this.
Thanks, Mookie.
Yeah.
Guys,
So
my pleasure.
how about you, Mooks? What's your final word on A Quiet Place?
You know, I'm gonna latch on to what you said. No?
which I started, by the way. Just kidding.
Domino effect.
Go on.
No, I mean, well, yeah. What should we call this? It runs the whole range of emotions. So as a parent, diba, you latch on to this kind of family love that goes on, that defies everything. And you have John Krasinski really, really sacrificing himself for everything. But it's not one-dimensional. It makes you feel so many things when you watch it. Also, my other takeaway is you watch more horror films during the pandemic. Watch more films like A Quiet Place, so you know how to deal with the invisible enemy lurking out there, somewhere out there. So there.
That's awesome. Well, we want to thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
For having me.
It's
good to catch up.
Guys.
Good to see you again.
So nice to see you.
You
I
guys.
know.
Can we not make it another 20 years before we see each other again?
Yes, definitely. I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, got it. So thank you so much for coming on. It's been great, Mookie. Thank you so much. Thank you for choosing this film.
I hope you get your son into horror, please.
I think he's brave enough for it. I think he can do it.
So yeah, thank you.
My
you guys.
pleasure, guys.
That was a lot
Nice
of
to
fun.
meet you, Aaron. Nice to meet
you.
Bye, guys.
Miguel,
Bye.
bye. See you in Rockwell again, Miguel. See you in
All right, see ya.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.